J Dilla wasn't just an incredible hip-hop producer, he was an incredible musician with a wide-ranging musical vocabulary, and the Erykah Badu song Didn't You Know proves how prolific he was. He pulled off a magic trick in the moment and helped create an incredible song that brought new attention to the original artist, even if they were kind of mad about it, but that'll come later. In the late 90s, J Dilla, aka JD, was in demand. He had already worked with artists like The Far Side, De La Soul, Busta Rhymes, and The Tribe Called Quest through his involvement with the Ummah Collective. Then he was involved with the Soulquarians, producing songs for The Roots, Common, and having a huge influence on D'Angelo's album Voodoo. At the same time, another famous Soulquarian, Erykah Badu, was in the process of recording a follow-up to her album from 1997, Baduism. This album hit number 2 on Billboard, went 3 times platinum, and won the Grammy for Best R&B Album. Not only that, it gave us the most famous opening kick drum fill of all time. So when it came to her sophomore album, Erykah knew she wanted to work with Dilla. The Soulquarians had essentially taken over Electric Lady Studios in New York, with The Roots, D'Angelo, Common, and Erykah recording and playing on each other's albums for a few years. But Dilla was based out of Detroit, so Erykah flew out to his basement studio to see what they could do. At this point, Dilla was so prolific and so in demand, he was used to artists taking whatever beats he gave them. And I mean, have you ever heard a bad Dilla beat? But Erykah wanted something different. She didn't want a pre-existing beat, she wanted to make something together. Somewhat annoyed, Dilla agreed. But here's where Dilla's magic trick comes in. They're in his basement, surrounded by records, many of which Erykah had never heard, and he just goes, pick an album, any album, like he's some sort of magician. So Erykah searches for a while and comes back with this self-titled album by the band Tarika Blue. They're an obscure New York jazz fusion group from the mid-70s. Not only did Dilla let Erykah pick the album, but she picked the song, Dreamflower, and the exact spot in the song to sample. He then taught her how to sample it into his MPC and loop it. He added his own sample drums on top, as well as bongos and shakers, courtesy of his friend DJ Dez. The result was Didn't You Know, the second single from Erykah's 2000 album Mama's Gun, which peaked at number 28 on the Billboard R&B chart, got her a Grammy nomination, and remains one of her most well-known songs today. To me, the most incredible thing here is that Dilla pulled off real magic in the moment. She comes over, he goes, here's some beats, but she's not interested, so he goes, okay, fine. Pick an album, any album you want. She comes back with an obscure jazz fusion record. He walks her through the entire process of sampling it, adding drums and percussion, and boom, he's transformed a small part of an obscure song into a brand new, fresh, modern song for Grammy winner Erykah Badu, all in front of her eyes. All right, let's try and recreate this song ourselves. So I got Ableton open and I have Dreamflower by Tarika Blue in here. And this is an instrumental track, there's no vocal on it, but there is like oboe? And oboe is cool, but not for what we're trying to do. So there's a couple open sections that he could have sampled. I'm gonna pull from the end here. There's basically 2 sections of the bass line. One that's this, and the other that's this. So we're gonna grab both of those. Put a cut in, and then we can get rid of that. Let's hear this. A drum fill's not in there, but all those guitar swells are in there, so I'm gonna cut it just before that. And then for the second section, here we go. Right on that. Okay, let's listen to this. Did you hear that little bass buzz in there? That's not in the Erykah one, but that little bit of a fret buzz. I'm gonna keep that in there. I know that's not in the original, but I like it. Now we'll take both of these just to the very beginning here and reverse the order. And this is an old recording from 1976, so it wouldn't have been recorded to click. So nowadays, while we might like beat grid this and make it exact, the Erykah version of this is not beat gridded, so we're not gonna do that either. And right there is, let's see. And then we'll crossfade it. Great, so these are our 2 sections and we would just loop those as needed. So the next thing is just adding drums. I don't have the exact samples that Dilla had, obviously, but I got a kick, a snare, a hi-hat, and an open hi-hat. So let's see what we can do. the other thing I mentioned is that his friend DJ Dez brought over some bongos and shakers. DJ Dez's dad was a Latin percussionist, so he had access to this stuff, just brought it over and helped him finish the track. Now for this, I could get samples of this, but let me see. Nah, it's a bad idea, never mind. All in all, it's pretty straightforward production. It's this Tarika Blue song with some modern drums and some bongos and shakers mixed in. But then you add Erykah's vocal and the whole thing just, it comes together. It's fantastic. By the way, if you want to download the exact files I'm using for this recreation and all the files for my videos for free, go to diggingthegreats.com. When it comes to covering a song, there's an existing legal system set up. The US Copyright Act allows for a compulsory mechanical license, which means the original artist can't stop you from releasing your own cover of their song. You get a mechanical license, pay the original artist, and they can't stop you, even if they don't like your cover. Sampling, however, is a different story. There's no such system set up, so you have to clear each sample with each individual artist and label, negotiating on a case-by-case basis. Or in the case of Dilla, Erykah, and this song, you could just not. They never cleared the sample for Dreamflower by Tarika Blue, and after getting sued, Erykah and her label had to pay. This settlement money helped the original label Tarika Blue was on launch a brand new label, and can you guess what their first release was? Yes, a reissue of the 1976 self-titled Tarika Blue album, which Dilla and Erykah had just sampled. That's why if you look this album up on streaming, it says it was released in 2002. As a result of Erykah's song and the re-release of Tarika Blue, Dreamflower has now been sampled over 40 times, and even Didn't You Know itself has been sampled. Now, I said Dilla was a magician. Do you remember the movie The Prestige? It's one of Christopher Nolan's early movies, and it introduced me to the three phases of a magic trick: the pledge, the turn, and the prestige. First is the pledge, where the magician shows you something ordinary like a dove. Then comes the turn, where something extraordinary happens, like the magician makes the dove disappear. Last is the prestige, where the magician does something astounding, like making the dove reappear, but across the room or whatever. Anyway, Dilla was a musical magician, and for this story, we can apply those same steps. For the pledge, Dilla is going to work with Erykah, so he shows her some beats, but she goes, let's make something new. So then for the turn, Dilla does something extraordinary. He says, pick any record you like. So she comes back with the Tarika Blue record, which he then transforms into Didn't You Know, and shows her every step of the process. The prestige is the end result, a successful single and Grammy nomination for Erykah, and a revived interest in an obscure 70s jazz fusion group, all from a record that was picked on a whim. And this isn't coincidence. It's not something that just anyone can do. Dilla was unique. He was a musical magician, or a musician, if you like. How could he take such an obscure old record and transform it into something so fresh and new? Well, he'd done it many times before, like for the common song Open Your Eyes, but for that story, you'll have to watch this video.